So what's different, Tanvir, about the India property cycle? One, it is almost entirely private sector led. And that brings both opportunity and risk being measured in a very different way than you're being publicly funded. Second, even the funding side of it, not just the development side, but the funding side of it is almost entirely either private sector led or even where there are public sector banks, it is within a set of guidelines that they have to adhere to. And many of these banks, as you know, are publicly listed, so they have a responsibility there as well. Third, there is very clearly a linkage between supply and demand. So we are seeing in the last couple of years, for the first time in close to a decade, that inventory of homes, of new homes, has fallen, which means the cycle to build the next set of homes will accelerate. There's something that happens every year, but this will accelerate. So our situation is very different from China's situation, and that's why it gives me hope that as we are growing this business, not only will we grow top line responsibly, but bottom line as well.
Yeah, it's an interesting distinction that you make, and thanks for clarifying that, Mr. Bajaj. I'm curious, though, as far as the continuation of this sort of robust growth that we've seen in the housing sector, then, as you say, largely depends on the support from stakeholders, and that includes the government as well. Do you foresee that this is likely to continue, and are there any challenges there for the housing sector with that respect?
Well, at this point, if I have to look at the next 5, 7, 8 years, I really don't see any significant challenges within India. We are, of course, living in very uncertain global times, and that can have its own impact, which can impact the Indian consumer as well. So let's hope that we move towards a safer and more peaceful world sooner rather than later. But within India, an economy growing 7.5% with the potential to grow at 8.5% in the coming years is significant investment in public and digital infrastructure that we have seen over the past decade, and that's continuing. And as I mentioned, at 7.5%, you're multiplying wealth for the middle class at quite an accelerated pace, and we are seeing the result of that. We are seeing, as I mentioned, record inflows coming into mutual funds the last 2 years, and this is not a one-off. You have a large section of middle class, close to half a billion people that now have enough money invested in a house, children's education, in a car. Some of that money now is coming into financial products as well. And this then ends up creating tailwinds for further economic growth.